Today's mystery envelope challenge for the Inspiration Collaboration design team was sent to us from Calia, and her instructions were: this month's mystery envelope challenge is to create a dark layout. We most often use light colors for layouts, so this month we're going to create dark and moody layouts using the beautiful Moonlit Flora collection. Think of terms of moonlit walks, taking a cave tour, or any activity that takes place between dusk and dawn. I'll provide some of the DSP from Moonlit Flora, along with die cuts from the Fern and Flora die set and embellishments from the Dewdrops embellishments. The base of your layout must be one of a darker color of cardstock: Secret Sea, Mossy Meadow, Peaceful Pine, etc. White cardstock should be reserved for embellishments, journaling, and your title only. Happy crafting, Calia. So I have chosen Peaceful Pine as my base, and I will show you what came in our pack. We got these 3 beautiful prints and large pieces of designer series paper. And I think I'm going to use this one and another one from the Moonlit Flora. And I love these. I love these so much, especially this little twisty one. I have put this in my cart for my next order, actually. So I am going to bring in this piece from the designer series paper. I just wanted you to see the pretty print on the back, clearly off limits because it is much too light. And then this is a bigger piece of one of the samples that Calia sent us. So I'm going to use some of this. And I might be breaking the rules a little bit because mine is not going to be something that happened at night, but it is from a trip to Belize. I'm going to show you the other prints that are available in this paper pack. This one, this one, and when we went to Belize, we went to see the Mayan ruins, and it was in a very, a lot of dense vegetation, but then there was a nice wide path for our tour. This one is the one that I've already pulled out and showed you. And this is like one that she sent us as well. So those are the other DSPs that are available in that beautiful paper pack. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this piece of DSP, and I was trying to decide where I wanted to cut it. I think I want to take a little bit off the bottom here and a little bit off of the top. I think it will look a little bit more, I'm trying to decide. Maybe I'll just leave it on for right now. I'm going to cut the left-hand layout a piece of 5 inches, and then I will use the rest of this on the right-hand side. I did not want to separate any of these moths. I don't think they're butterflies. I think they're moths. Does anybody know the technical difference between the two? Most of the time I just call them all butterflies, but with it being at night or in a dense vegetation, I don't know, for some reason I think that's more of a moth. So that's what I was thinking. I just don't know if I want the green to show. And then I was trying to decide how much I want on the 2 sides. I want the green to show some. I think I will make the left-hand side 3 inches. I can always take some and make it a little thinner. Like this. And I don't think I want quite as much on this side. I'm thinking I want 2 inches on the other side. It will still show quite a bit of that peaceful pine on the 2 sides. If I do it like that, and you'll still get a lot of that moody dark on that. Next, I'm going to bring in some pictures. So last summer we were on a cruise to the Western Caribbean, and we made 3 stops. One of those stops was in Belize, and this was an excursion that we opted to do. In fact, this excursion is how we chose which cruise we were going to do. And we went with our friend Carrie and her daughter Beth, and we had a great time. It just takes me a few minutes to decide how I'm going to lay all of this out, but I think this is the general orientation. Okay, so here's basically the pictures that I believe I want to use. When we were in Belize, we got to go see some Mayan ruins. And this was what we pulled up to. We had to take a boat ride, and that's going to be a whole nother layout. And this is what we saw. And then we went in, and there was a place where we had something to eat after our hike through the forest, but there was a sign. And when we went out the back, this is the whole complex, which you couldn't tell it when you pulled up, but it was actually quite large. And this is where we pulled away from the dock. And it was just really cool that there was so much there and you didn't really know it. And then we visited 3 main ruins. This one was the largest structure. And I think this one's going to get cut down to 4x4 like these 2. And of course, we had to do our OHIO. We were with some friends. And this was the sign when we first came to shore. And Lamani, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, means submerged crocodile. So if that doesn't make you nervous when you're getting out to walk around, we did see some crocodiles up along here. But we took probably, I think it was close to a 30-minute boat ride out to this beautiful place. And then when we were going through, they pointed out a bunch of the vegetation, and then we kept hearing these howler monkeys. And my granddaughters are, for some reason, very into howler monkeys, and they think it's really cool. And we've been reading about them in books, a book from the library this week. But there were actually monkeys hidden in the tree here, and there were several of them. And so I left this, I wanted these pictures in here so that you could kind of search for the howler monkeys. And that was the canopy above us. So although this was not really an evening type of moonlight walk, it was very a lot of canopy over top of us the whole time we were doing most of our tour, until we would get to these structures, and then the whole thing would just open up. All the vegetation just all of a sudden would open up, and you could see the beautiful sky. So I wanted to include these as well. So that will be a flip flap. This will be a flip flap with some journaling potentially in there as well. I need to pick out a color that's not too bright to border all of these photos next. Okay, I've cut a bunch of mats out of Mossy Meadow and Secret Sea, and I'm going to decide which one to put under for mats for each of these. So let me tell you a little bit of how I think I'm going to decide. This one crosses over onto more of this peaceful pine, so I think the darker blue will show up, whereas this one is on a lot of that darker that had a lot of Secret Sea in it, so I think the peaceful pine, no, the Mossy Meadow will show up a little bit better. And then this one, this group with flip-flaps will be on top of this peaceful pine, so I think the Secret Sea will show up nicely. Let's start here with the Secret Sea, the Mossy Meadow. I don't know if I can go every other one. See how that gets lost on there? I think that just shows up a little bit better. Normally, I would put a white behind here, probably as my last layer, but I think that would be a little bit too much off limits. So this is what I'm thinking, and I will put something up here about the Mayan ruins in Belize, and I want something on here about, can you spot the howler monkeys? Okay, so I have cut out the words Mayan and ruins in basic white and in Secret Sea, and I am offsetting them and just slightly so that the Secret Sea is on the bottom and the basic white's on top. In order to do that, I got out this little mat and I got out a sponge dauber, and I got the sponge dauber just a little bit wet, and I squeezed some of that mono multi-liquid glue from Tombow onto the back of on that mat, and then I put my sponge dauber on it and I just flipped the letters over, and that's how I got the adhesive on there. And then once they were all together, I started in the middle of the word and worked my way out to make sure that I had it somewhat centered, and I adhered them to a panel that I had made with the Fern 3D embossing folder. I will explain in a minute how I did that. But I just stuck all of these words down. If I needed to push it down a little bit more, I just grabbed the bottom of that glue bottle and kind of pushed it into that embossing, because the texture made it a little bit harder to get it to stick. And that's how I created my title. And then I went in off camera and I put down in Belize underneath this panel. So once I finished with all of that, I stuck it back in my embossing folder. The first time, I just took the soft Seafoam cardstock and put it through, and I had inked up that embossing folder with Mossy Meadow ink. But then I put it back through, lining all up the little fern pieces, and put it into my embossing folder so that the whole thing wasn't embossed all at one time. Isn't that cool? I just love how it turned out. And so I will pop this up with some dimensionals, and then I will put it on that panel of Mossy Meadow cardstock and stick it up in the corner of the layout. And now it's time to start embellishing. So I created some more little 3D embossed and inked up circles that were cut from the Stylish Shapes dies, and I just tucked them in under the pictures in the 3 spots that you see, and then I'm going to put on top of them. I need more of these ferns. I just love them, and I will be getting them, but I don't have enough ferns now. So I had an old bow punch that had these different sprigs in them. And so I cut some of those out, punched some of those out of Mossy Meadow and Old Olive. And I have the two sides of each of those that I punched from. So I'm just using those as my extra filler pieces in my little embellishment clusters. So I stuck those down kind of more in back, and then I used my ferns, and that fern that's the little curlicue one is my absolute favorite. That's what sold me over the top on these ferns. It is absolutely darling. So I'm gluing down each of these embellishment clusters, and I will go back and add some of those dewdrop embellishments that Calia sent for us as well. Now, there are 5 of us, I believe, that are in the Inspiration Collaboration Design Team, and everybody will be putting up their videos. And you'll want to check the playlist. I'll make sure that as these videos are added, they are all in that playlist for you. And so check back and see how everybody else used this DSP and the challenge to do it on something dark, and what they have created. I will say, after I finished the whole thing and I was taking my final pictures after I took these layouts off of the mats, I realized that I made a mistake. That DSP that's in the middle of the whole layout, I flipped the one on the left upside down. Do you see those light colored leaves hanging down? That was supposed to be at the bottom of the page. And I was like, oh, how did I do that? So the patterns don't match up perfectly, but I still like the layout. You are not noticing all of the pattern not matching up all the way down. I don't think too obvious, because the pictures are so close to the middle. And I think that's why I didn't see it until I finished the whole layout. But yes, I do know that I flipped that paper upside down, and I should have had a few more moths flying up at the top of the layout. That's the part that I actually miss with it being flipped upside down. But nonetheless, we all make mistakes, and it was all down and assembled together before I even noticed it. So if I didn't notice it for that long, I'm sure people flipping through my scrapbooks won't jump out to them either. But yeah, I did make a complete faux pas on this layout. When I'm trying to tuck these little circles under, you might notice I'm kind of wedging my scissors underneath there. I make sure when I put down these photo mats that I do not put my adhesive all the way over to the outside. That way I can nip and tuck things in. So I tuck things in, and sometimes I tuck them in between the photo mat and the photo as well. And the cluster over on the left, maybe you noticed, I even made sure that the fern went just slightly over the picture. And I think that's a cute little way to embellish sometimes. So I'm just gluing down the last of these embellishments, and then I had a little banner that I also cut out of the stylish shapes, and I'm just going to take a Stampin' Write marker and put on there to look for the howler monkeys. And then there was one thing I just could not resist. I could not resist making the word look with the 2 O's into googly eyes. So I just grabbed some googly eyes from my stash and put some googly eyes on there. So look for that in the final shots of this layout, because I just think it's too cute. We really didn't see the eyes poking through. We mostly saw the black of the howler monkeys up in the tree. But make sure you look for that. And here's a final look at the different embellishments that I put on the layout. I have added those dewdrop embellishments that are just so adorable. They were like clear, maybe mossy meadow, and a night of navy or a secret sea was the other color.
and I just thought it was so cute. And here you go. See the word look? Is that not adorable? I thought that was so cute, and I thought my granddaughters might enjoy looking for the howler monkeys. So I will put my journaling right there. And I have more monkeys inside on the right, and then you can see that canopy up top on the other one. So here's the final look at my completed layout, and a reminder one more time to check out the other girls in the Inspiration Collaboration Design Team.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more crafty inspiration.